Hi there, Andy Ron here with Montana Land Source. It is March 23rd, 2022, and this is your video summary of the Montana Land Report. In the past 7 days in the Montana land market, 16 property updates, and that is again about half of what we usually expect this time of year. So we're just continuing this slow trend in 2022. There's about half of the total properties on the market than in other years. So just a continuation of this low inventory market that we're in. Of those 16 property updates, only 2 new listings in the past week, 5 pending sales, 5 price changes. And what is interesting is 2 of those price changes are actually price increases. So there's some optimism on behalf of the listing agents on those properties, and 4 properties sold. This past week, like most weeks, I received multiple calls from all kinds of people asking about the market and asking about pricing and pricing on listings. And it's always interesting to me that brokers and sellers just often don't understand or don't believe that the market speaks in terms of the pricing on their listings. I've made this comment in times past that people call me wanting to talk about why their listings aren't selling, and they want to talk about everything except pricing, which is kind of interesting and kind of funny. And granted, the Montana land market is a highly imperfect market. It just doesn't function like other markets that have more price discovery and whatnot. Properties in Montana vary quite a lot, so there's not a lot of standardization. So pricing can be difficult. Appraising properties is very difficult in the state of Montana. But nonetheless, the market does operate in terms of response to listings, in terms of number of showings and number of offerings. And granted, some properties are unique, and sometimes I do think there is, only 1 or 2 or a very small amount of buyers for any given property. So sometimes I do think properties sit on the market for a while and just are waiting for that one buyer. The buyer pool for land in Montana, especially higher end ranches and that kind of thing, that buyer pool is not very large. I think the Beartooth Ranch is a good example of this. I've talked about this in past episodes. It just sold within the last couple weeks, and I think that property illustrates it well. It was a high-end, listing, $30 million listing, and that property did not have very good privacy or very good exclusivity. And in that segment of the market, that high of a price, most buyers in that segment value privacy and exclusivity very much. So it took a special buyer, so to speak, for that property. And that property did sit on the market essentially through the whole 18-month bull market that we've been seeing in the Montana land market. And finally, the right person showed up. So sometimes properties are facing that issue if they're unique, maybe in an area of Montana that's not as popular as others, that kind of thing. It has to wait for that right buyer to come along. But short of that, when properties have been on the market in this kind of market we've seen, which has just been an extreme seller's market, and aren't getting offers, aren't getting showings, likely it's pricing. Not very many properties are truly under marketed, I would say, although there is a huge range of listing agents and brokerages out there. And one value of Montana Land Source, I think, in that regard is it's an easy way to see how properties are being marketed. On our map app, you can click on properties very easily, go right to the listing agent's page for that property and see how well or not well that property is marketed. So you can get a sense of what marketing is like out there, what the quality is on the higher end of property websites and that kind of stuff. So in news this week, upcoming for the Montana Farm and Ranch Brokers Association meeting on April 7th, we are having an appraiser panel with appraisers from all over the state, all corners of the state, briefly talking about what they see in their markets and just kind of a check-in and update on how things are going in early 2022. So I think that'll be a very valuable presentation. That meeting is here in Billings at the Billings Association of Realtors office at 8:30 on April 7th, but it's also available on Zoom. You can get on the mailing list for the Montana Farm and Ranch Brokers Association at no cost, and membership to that association is only $25 a year. So you can find that at mtlandsource.com on our events page. And in addition, all this information can be found on mtlandsource.com, including market stats, new listings, all that kind of stuff. So thanks everybody for watching. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.